Hello, welcome to Current News. I'm your host, Chris Davis. So, for today, we're going to talk about the top DCEU films. So, we're going to talk about which film is right now sitting at number one and which one is at the bottom. Of course, this is factual. This is my opinion, but I'll give some reasons for it. You can agree or disagree. So, number one, I don't think anyone can really dispute this. Right now, the DCEU film that's number one is Wonder Woman. Yes, Wonder Woman. I think the reason why this film is number one to people is one, all the critics liked it. It got up to up in the 90s in Rotten Tomatoes, and that's the highest for any of the DCEU films. So that speaks for itself. Also, I think with this film, the reception was better because it wasn't as dark as Batman v Superman. So it was more lighthearted. I think overall people enjoyed the story. Diana, she was raised on the Themyscira, a very closed off place from the outside world. She was tired of living in a bubble. She wanted to go see man's world, as they call it. But her mother wouldn't let her. Her mother didn't even want her to be a warrior. But Diana really wanted to see man's world, and she had all these preconceived ideas about it. It was naive, and when she goes out to the man's world, she finally sees what her mother was talking about. But in the end, she reconciles those negative things she sees, and she sees the good, and she thinks that she still believes that man's world is still worth saving. So that film is number one. Overall, it was a good story plot. Number two, I think what takes number two is Man of Steel. I think you have to give Man of Steel the second spot on the DCU universe. For me, it's because of the Kryptonian lore. Seeing Krypton, I think right there, that alone gives it the number two spot. And if they come out with a Superman sequel, I would like to see them go in more detail about that. Also, I really like the tension that they created in Man of Steel, especially towards the end of the film. Clark, he wanted to protect Earth, but he had this conflict of fighting his own people, and even though he never knew them, he has this conflict because for as long as he's lived on Earth, he's known that he's not an Earthling. He's different. There's something different about him. There's this other side to him that he doesn't really know about. And now, to protect Earth, he's going to have to destroy this other part of himself, like these other Kryptonians. And he probably wishes he could still be around someone else that's just like him. But his heart's with Earth, not with Krypton. So I just love the overall tension they made in that film with that. Plus, I loved the fight with Zod and Superman. When you're making a Superman film, I think Superman needs a bad guy that he can really punch, that he can really flex his power to. So I know everyone gives Man of Steel like the thumbs down towards the ending part, but I loved the fight scene. It was incredible. I don't know why people complain about that. I mean, it's Superman. We want to see a fight like that. Okay, what takes number three is Aquaman. Aquaman had some similarities to Man of Steel. You have this hero who's part of one world, but he's also part of another. And in Arthur Curry's case, Aquaman, there was this tension between Atlantis trying to destroy the surface world, but in Arthur Curry's case, he didn't really have the tension that Superman had. He didn't really care for Atlantis because of what they did to his mother and to how what they thought of him, because his mother had him. So he was pretty much on the surface world side. Plus, he wanted to protect his father. But I liked how, again, he was really interested, especially when he was growing up, this other side of him, getting to know this other side of him and getting to know his mother until eventually he learned the truth about what they did to his mother. But overall, Aquaman, I loved the film. I loved all the action inside of it. I think James Wan did an excellent job. I liked Amber Heard and Nicole Kidman. They were pretty cool too, especially in their fight scenes. And Black Manta was a lot better than I thought he would be. Even though he wasn't in that movie that much, I think that's okay. I think they're going to save him for the sequel, so that works out with me. Okay, so number 4 on the list. It goes to Suicide Squad. So Suicide Squad is number 4. So when we watch this movie, we get some background on these characters, and then we learn that Amanda Waller is putting them together to form a group, Task Force X, also known as Suicide Squad. And when I was watching this film and I had listened to the reviews, I thought there was going to be too many characters. But it wasn't that much, and the dialogue between the characters were really good. It wasn't terrible. There were some complaints about the cutting and stuff, but I really enjoyed the film. I really liked it. It gets number 4 in my spot because you have a group of criminals, ex-cons, coming together to do something sort of good. Amanda Waller's not really a good guy. You could say that she only does things in her own self-interest. But overall, I liked Suicide Squad. Number 5 on the list, Justice League. Yeah, Justice League is near the bottom, and the reason why it is because it was rushed. I mean, we shouldn't have even gotten Justice League yet until we got a single film with every member a part of the Justice League, except I think for Cyborg. I don't think Cyborg needs his own film, but I'm saying we should have gotten a Batman film with Ben Affleck. We should have already gotten Aquaman. We should have gotten the Flash movie, and we should have gotten Shazam. We should have gotten all those characters before they put in a Justice League film. Because since they did the Justice League film, I know who the Justice League are. I've read the comics. I've looked at the DC animated universe. I know who they are. But the problem is that people who don't read comics or watch the cartoons, they're wondering, who are these characters and where did they come from? Who's the Flash? Who's Aquaman? I know they didn't come out with a film with Aquaman yet, but I think in general the public should know about Aquaman, even though he hasn't had his own film until about 2 weeks ago. But they're right. They're wondering, who are these characters and where did they come from? And Warner Brothers did Justice League because they were trying to catch up to Marvel, and that was really stupid. Marvel's already so far ahead of them, and it was dumb to think that they could catch up to Marvel in 2 or 3 films. Like, they've been doing it maybe 8 years before Warner Brothers started making their own DCEU universe. Maybe 6 years if you count when Man of Steel came out, but that's still a long time. They're still way ahead of you, so they should have taken their time to give each of these characters their own film, give them their background story, flesh out their character more. That way, when you do show Justice League, the public's already familiar with the characters and they know who they are. It's just they shouldn't have rushed it. Batman v. Alright. I got ahead of myself. Okay. So, for the last one at the bottom, you probably already guessed it. I already said it a few seconds ago. It's Batman v Superman. Batman v Superman is at the bottom. And the reason why, to me, it's at the bottom is because, to me, it was the decline of the DCEU universe. People complained, again, that they were rushing it, that they were trying to set up their own cinematic universe with just one film. And they were right. It was too rushed. They were trying to set it up too fast. I think the ending, it was too dark. I don't think they should have killed Superman. Not that early though. If they were going to do it, they shouldn't have done it in Batman v Superman. And I'll give you my reasons in a few moments. But Batman v Superman, it was the decline of the DCE universe, and I think that's when all the ranting and all the complaining about the DCEU universe started. And I think if they were going to introduce Batman, he should have had his own film first, and then he could have done something with Superman. It was just too rushed. Now, if they were going to kill Superman, if they were, I think it would have been better off way later on down the line, when the DCEU universe had been going along. I don't think they should have done it that early. And the reason why, from a story plot standpoint, is if you kill Superman that early, which they did, to me, it didn't have the emotional reaction as it would if they waited further down the line. Now, if they had waited down much further down the line to kill Superman, I think it would have had a much more emotional impact, because fans would have gotten to see Superman in all these films doing all these heroic things and develop more of an attachment to Superman, to Henry Cavill's character. I think it would have been more impactful rather than killing him in the sequel film after Man of Steel. So that's why I think killing him in Batman v Superman was a terrible idea. If that's what Warner Brothers wanted to do, then they should have waited much later to do it. Like, another good example is, let's say in Avengers 4 Endgame. I don't know what can happen. Anything can happen. But let's just say in Avengers 4 Endgame, like, Captain America dies. Like, he dies. I mean, that would change the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe. That would change the whole Marvel community. Marvel, like, fans would, like, literally lose their minds. And why? Because they've gotten to see Chris Evans play this character for so long, almost for a decade. And they've developed a emotional attachment and connection to Captain America. Kind of similar to Superman. They're both Boy Scouts, but they have this connection like to Captain America that they really like. So if they were to kill Captain America in Avengers 4, it would really have a huge impact, because Captain America has been there for so long. And that's kind of the example I'm kind of using for Superman. If they were going to kill him, they should have waited much later. I mean, I think the film right after Man of Steel, it's too soon to kill him off. And I think because they did do it that early, they shouldn't bother killing Superman off anymore. They already did it and people didn't like it. Maybe it would have had a more positive reaction if they waited later, but they already did it, so they shouldn't bother trying to write Superman out or kill him off or do anything like that. They should just keep him. So those are my list of DCEU films, the top ones from number 1 to the bottom. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Have you seen any of these films? Do you like them? Which film would you put at number 1, or which film would you put at the bottom? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Also, you can follow me on social media. I have the links in the description box. And also, hit the like button, hit subscribe, and share this video with your friends. Happy New Year. Thank you.